Hello, everyone. My name is Yarrow, and I wanted to read a story to you. A little while ago, I started writing some Wiccan fairy tales. My goal was to write one for every holiday and then to have some just kind of interspersed in between that were just standard myths, fairy tales, teaching stories. And maybe one day I will get to actually finish all of them and compile them into a little collection for people to one day read. I think that would be awesome. But in the meantime, I wanted to record them and let people listen to them so that they don't have to just sit and read, but also so that uh, maybe someone out there can play these for the audience that they are one day intended for. But anyway, this one has been rattling around in my head for a very long time, and I finally just decided to write it down. And it is, so far, I think, maybe my very favorite. So I want to read for you The Witch Spider. Long ago, when people were quite young and still living in stone caves and bramble thickets, the god of the sun and the goddess of the moon spent much time with the animals who managed the world until people were grown enough. Each animal had their own ritual and their own magic, and the circle turned as the sun and the moon rose and set in the sky. Soon it came time for the people to learn the magic as well. They rose each day with the sun and counted the nights that passed from full moon to full moon, but they had no ritual and did not know how to use the magic. The deities all agreed that it was time to teach the people, and they all agreed to teach them in the ways of the spirit, but who to teach them in mortal ways. Among the animals, they asked who should teach the human beings. The little weasels considered themselves the cleverest. They said they would teach humans to be sly, smart, and playful. But the bears, who were the largest and strongest, said humans should be taught to be patient and courageous instead. The great eagles and hawks argued further and said they must be taught not patience and playfulness, but swift action and foresight. The salmon insisted they must learn wisdom most of all, and the wolves howled that no wisdom of one was greater than learning how to live together as a family group. Soon all the animals were arguing amongst themselves, each insisting they were the best suited to teach the new people and had the best lesson to teach them. The animals no longer spoke to one another, angry and jealous. Soon the arguing became too much to bear, and the sun god and the moon goddess came down to settle the argument. Each of you have good things to teach, and no one of you is better than the other, but still we must choose a teacher, the goddess said. We must have a contest, the sun god declared, to decide who is best suited. But none of the animals could agree on what contest would be best. Each chose a trial that they were best suited for. At last the deities decided that an impartial judge must be found to choose the contest and to declare a winner. And to be fair, they decided a mortal animal must be chosen. They scoured the land looking for an animal that did not wish to be chosen, and at last they came across the spider. The spider, spinning her web in a lonely cave, had made no argument nor spoken one word. I am small, people hardly see me, even when I crawl among them and net the mosquitoes that bite and whisper in their ears. What can they learn from me if they do not even notice I am there? I am content to spin my webs and watch the people grow. The animals all agreed that the spider was wise and should be a fair judge. For many days the spider sat and thought, and soon called all the little animals together so the contest could begin. You each have a great talent, the spider said to them. But if you are to teach the new people, then you must be good at not only one thing, but many. So you must all try what each animal is best at, and the one who can do all of these things will be the most fit to teach the humans. The animals all agreed. The salmon and the whale won the swimming contest. The bears, wolves, and even hares were able to finish the race, but the eagles could only float for a time. The ants could not swim at all, and the little mice gave up in the strong currents. The eagles won the flying contest, the little hummingbirds buzzing close behind them. The dragonflies and butterflies finished the race, but try as they might, the little weasels and great bears could just not take to the sky. The weasels and moles dug furiously in the burrowing contest, and the wolves made large holes in the ground, but the salmon could not even leave the water to dig in the ground. In a contest of strength, the bear moved great trees, but the small animals could move only small things. At last the contest was over, but no animal was a clear winner. All of them became upset once more. This was an impossible task, said the bear. What a silly contest, the salmon groaned. No one could possibly complete all of these contests. The task was not impossible, said the spider. You must do many things at least a little if you are to teach them. If it is so easy, then you should be the one to do them all, cried the little brown weasels, and the wolves howled the same. Very well, if you wish for me to prove it, then I shall. The swimming contest was first, and though not the fastest swimmer, the spider skimmed along the surface of the water until it became too rough. Then she dove down to the bottom and wove a very special web. With it she trapped little air bubbles from the surface and pulled them down to her to breathe as she walked along the bottom. Though she was not the fastest swimmer, she completed the task. To complete the next task, the spider had to fly. Though she had no wings, she climbed to the tallest tree she could find and cast a long silk out into the wind. The wind caught the silks and carried her away across the sky. She could not fly as high or as far, but she completed the task. In the burrowing contest, she scraped the ground with her many legs and slowly dug. With her little web, she gathered all the dirt and pulled it out of the little hole over and over again until she had a cave under the earth with a little trap door. It was neither the largest nor the deepest hole, but it was just the right size for her. The test of strength would not be easy for the small but very wise spider. She thought long and hard about what to do, but after a time the wind began to blow, and she had an idea. Choosing two trees in the forest, one tall and old and the other smaller and younger, she got to work spinning her web around the two trees. She worked tirelessly for a very long time until she had wrapped both trees as tightly together as she could manage. The wind blew stronger and stronger, and the old, tall tree began to sway. The spider silk was so strong that as the old tree swayed, it tugged on the smaller tree until it had pulled it right out of the ground and set it back down again. She was not the strongest, but she had shown them all a feat of strength. Tired but satisfied with her work, the spider turned to the other animals and said, "These feats can all be done. It is not a matter of who's strongest, fastest, or even cleverest. It is a matter of using all you have to solve the problem at hand. Perhaps if there's Perhaps there is someone who can fly higher, but I flew as high as I could with what I had. I cannot move trees with my little legs alone, but I am wise enough to know what can." All the animals, in awe of the tiny spider who could swim, fly, burrow, and move great trees, did not know what to say. The sun and the moon, watching the contest from above, came down to congratulate the spider. "I think it is clear," the sun said, "that the only one who could complete all of the trials is the spider. Therefore, the little spider should be the teacher of the people," the moon agreed. For a moment the spider was quiet, then finally spoke. "I will show the people to weave magic like I weave my web. I will guide them with my tenacity and wisdom, but there is so much for them to learn from all of us. Let us all teach them in our own way, and let them choose who will be their greatest teacher. Let the people of the bear be strong and patient. Let the people of the eagle be decisive and far seeing. Let the people of the wolves be protective and love their family, and I will always be there in their homes to teach them the ritual." The deities, spirits, and animals all agreed, and it was so. So that is the story of the witch spider. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. I would like to record all of the fairy tales that I have written so far and put them here, so that may happen if anybody wants to hear even more of these fun little tales. I think I will also record some of my essays and, get all serious and whatnot. Um, so perhaps one of these days, everything that has been written on my blog will actually be recorded for people to hear. So fun. Am I going to record these all in one long, unbroken take and do absolutely no editing? Probably. Do I know what I'm doing in the slightest? Absolutely not. So, buckle up, I guess, because it's going to start out a little rough. But I hope this is something people can enjoy. But in any case, thanks for listening.